Landa Buchimemu ababepiemu ewo magene no baya na local government ministry eho ene wodi wonani ekireye na panyini abedi kire ho nkitahudi ho nsem so e de ma Switzerland wona tena ye wo Ghana ene Ewragen in Wales ne ka sem na wo chim se nema mienu ene de wo mo enamo ne dika mo ba behwe ahuni sa yonko fa da Ghana ena Switzerland man ntemu ne behwe na yehye mukina ne etoso mienu oba behwe ahuni se dwumadie bi a Switzerland ye sinani so na watu ne din Seco project sa dwumadie yi amanya afi na fifa yetumpon no omudi sika eboa sa amane na mpuntuo kwa so no omo so atimi adiye na Ghana ye kan ho bi nto oba behwe mpempen so adwumadi ahodo no omudi sika aboye no ye de no akwakoduro na odumunyafo Ahmed Ibrahim odaso ya no ekasai de tudwa se sika ahodo na Seco project mu na Ghana ye nsa aka no ese omani se yesi ye brane ye bibio so ba kumi na che ombehunu se Ghana aboye homodin pa entintina moa bi a Switzerland man no ede boa Ghana ya de a ye ni so ye bekoso so na ya boa na ye nkofra da mi aman mi ntemu no yakoso na yashimukina
Ma yensha enwomansia emu enhyehye ekakra National Teaching Council penifo ede ababe tudwase ensemu a achechefo bi etese ene penifo apeja won sika wotua ewo saa teacher licensure exams no emu no wose enye nokre ya hwe ene wo mo edi nkomo wo brekra nei wo friends entwofo enhyemudie enso ewo nkrampopune mantamase board chairman Oru Kwame Alovi achemu se wo matensemu ane yebisa wo mo ne bi se ne wo matum opese wo ka ma achechefo ti asese wo mo cancel no de omo fa nhyehyeye biasa e ma montese o cheche ni no bi catch us atum asansem no bogu.
Since Friday 20th February 2026 I have been inundated with messages from well-meaning Ghanaians in my capacity as chairman of the NTC to respond to two messages circulating on social media. One, that the NTC has increased the fees charged for the licensure examination. Let me, from the outset, state that these allegations are totally false and should be dismissed or treated with the contempt that they deserve. Fees charged by the NTC. The record available to everyone, which any person could even Google, is that the last time that the Ghana Teacher Licensure Examination fee was increased was in 2023 under the previous regime. For 4 years now, that is 2023, 2024, 2025, and 2026 in the last advert, the fee has remained 450 cedis for fresh candidates. For reciters, those who wrote the exam and were not successful, and they are re-registering, the fees are still 150 cedis per subject, 210 cedis for 2 subjects, and 350 cedis for 3 subjects. So which is even cheaper than for the freshers. All students for the examination, either fresh or reciters, pay an indexation fee of 50 cedis, which have remained the same since 2023. It is the same fees set for fresh candidates of colleges of education under the University of Ghana who couldn't sit for the first licensure examination integrated into the final examination of the teacher trainings written in October last year, and the reciters who were unsuccessful in the advert put out by the NCC. To suggest, therefore, that the fees for the licensure examination have increased amounts to malice, mischief, and a figment of one's imagination. Totally false. No increase in the fees at all.
Awutu Senya West mrashi bedwani ene urumunyamfo Gezela tete agbotoi na maami akasa ede atudwa se na no ya woda obepie mu ewo aguna suedu ne mpatemu anta schools competition bekoso ewo secondary schools ahudu obintem ne kowi akire no ntokwa community edisuafo 9 prewe prana no woden na no urumunyamfo sere se ne ekoso no empenifo nso mo fa hwehwemu ngu apono so na edisuafo ne namonsa so na basa ne unity no ye ntwe wonaso.
Last year something happened. this rivalry sometimes tends to happen between schools, but I think it was managed. But this year, it seems from what they themselves picked up, with their threats and all that, so they still went for the sports, all right. But this is what happened is what we saw, which was very despicable, and I condemn it in no uncertain terms. Not because the children are from a secondary school in my village or in my district, but because generally it is not the right thing to do. And so for young people at the same age, it was just by grace that the video that we saw, that the giant was standing by a gate and the stone that was thrown at him, it didn't hit him. He would have just smashed his eye or something like that. And just imagine what would have happened to him. Parents bring their children to boarding school for molding, for them to be in the environment, to get to know their peers and all other benefits that boarding schools give. And this is not what we all expected. So I've spoken to the Director General of the Education Service, and he has requested the heads of both schools, the district directors of education of both districts, and the regional education director to actually come to Accra for such a meeting. And for that, he would also make the trip to the schools himself and see. But for initially, he wants to talk to them, and then we take it from there.
So far no ene hwe kron kumenkuma amamu eso afen so ya hensem ene ye dadan sum dwumadi eso no orumunyamfo Ahmed Ibrahim ede atujase na so ye no eye nhyehyeye se woni Ghana mampani Excellency John Dramani Mahama ebetase na yedi enkomodie no ose ne botaye nyina eye se ye benya biaye foforo abrano ye betimi ato ye mu agu ne titiri ya ye wonkran ha se ene Tema ene ne mpotemu ose waya hyehyeye ama pon landfill site ne wo hunu se afede eye abuso ene nti osrempeni force ne ekoso na ban ani edi akiri obehwe na watim atu emu anamon enso edi afiri onya yempo a enkone mampani behia ansa na nyame adom efiada edu.
We are here simply because of the information that we were given at the ministry that the only landfill site in the Accra, eastern part of Accra, will be almost exhausted in about a month's time. And that if care or critical steps are not taken, after 1 month, the whole of the eastern part of Greater Accra, all the 10 metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies are not going to get anywhere to dump their hospital, domestic, and industrial waste. So we chose it wise to come today with the city authorities and the ministry leadership to come and interact with the staff and the contractor here, whether what we were being told is true or not. As we have come, the contractor, the mayor, and the MC have all told me that in fact, they have only 1 month. And even we are in the dry season. So if in a month's time, the whole of Accra waste are not going to get anywhere to dump their waste, it's going to be a serious problem. So yes, it is true. We are sitting on sanitation time bomb, and we are going to be very proactive in this direction. We are going to make sure that at least both the private sector and the public are up and doing.
I think it's important to note that all through the history of the landfill sites and all of that, at least by 2019, it became an emergency site, not a permanent site. But nothing has been done until your proactive engagement of this issue. And I must say it's timely. We're doing all of this in anticipation of a disaster, where you're not waiting until it actually happens before you visit us. So that is a sign that I think that we cannot afford to overlook. So once again, I want to thank you, and we know that with your direction and your oversight, this issue will be resolved for all of us.
So this whole enclave, which has about 7 MMAs, Ladma, Lekma, TMA, Pung, Sayos Doku, Ashaman, all dump at this site, because when you look around, there's no appropriate final disposal site in the vicinity or in the enclave. And so we have to host our sister MAs in this site for this period. Unfortunately, where we have gotten to is such that the design airspace of 16 meters has been exhausted. We are now getting to 24 and over. And frequent challenges has been the road to the top being irregular, and sometimes some of the cars having challenges, vehicles having challenges, and also leachate overflows. We are proposing that, if possible, some MAs could find other sites to go to dump, and it could be left with few, like 3, TMA possibly, Pong, and Ashaman. This is our immediate proposal, whilst we immediately look at an appropriate final disposal for this whole enclave, because critically, this site is serving a huge purpose. Although area constrained, it is the only site available from Ningo to TMA, to Lekma.
National Coordinator at the Ghana National Education Campaign Coalition, ene Mami Benisimpre Jeche na Mami Akasa at the Tuja Ghana Education Service, the Share, Iguapuno so here who sends some money akoso our secondary school who do the beti mahre na ya pe anopomesibre near a tosum yunum pin for who say what the councillors because secondary schools who do wait my mother for Nakasa chere is soup bonibi a eba once no ebeti mahre na ya bonoboa.
Jumekwa friend Ghana National Education Campaign Coalition. I say Jumekwa enche abayanse a ewo Ghana yehwe adesuane adekere ne yakeka ye ho aboma hwese yebebo moden ama adesuane adekere akoso ye ewo Ghana inti asema aba ye ka ho asemi ye started hu dwuma no ache efi last year. Your first stakeholders meeting, our headmistress, headmasters, and Mofrana Kasabi Ekahu, and yet not in your train common, Ghana Education Service, Ministry of Education reps on almost so by it. And I year presentation, Emma Omuhu that violence na air course war senior high school no. Na HRS ye schools no and ye safe. Senior high schools no enye safe because odo back school who name say abofra no obeba said ye ete ana se oha obi betumi ato no ye hwenia esisisie ya nkwale ye omokoye sports omobu omunua na afa ye nim bebi a oda sa abre no ye oha ye hwe omo a omo estabe abofra we pinaman a ono so nani enye philanthropy bina philanthropist no boa no no de ne kwa brochranka ebi ono no wedi dem kra ebe ha adwen ena o hwe imofra students a omubu teachers omu assault teachers into issues ne edos from last year to this year ye kan a edos bebre into adeba kwa Ghana Education Service here ne so mehu se counselors any school no mu. And at the disciplinary act, no more funny school doing orientation, yen 2 year boas enchirichi mu enchiromo. Enye abankwa and ye de tria bofraso a ye. E kwan bebre wo hono ma ye betumi atwe mofra na so mo ye boni ase ne be ye omunua no mo no enye saa boni ni bi. Ba se saa ne ma ni nyina ya ye gya ya to ho. Nti ye best headmistress, head teachers, and teachers no teacher unions no so omomoaye se saa disciplinary act no omonhye mo knyana teacher bia ehu ekwan a ye fa so ye twe mofra no aso afei so wo se ye hwe ye securities na wo schools no mo sisi aye nim se enema ekwa enim emofra na adwene de we omoye omonema na esesa nti bia ye koye sports bibisa na se hu behia se the police be di omochi a no mu hu se there is an enforcement bi wo hono mo a wo ye ade a enya emrane ne wo bedi afa mofra no mo ye sa ade no so ye ntwe o maso yi no enye esuro ema omunuano mo maka no.
Eba beto odwa se wo mo a wo mo de anwa echi plantain chips and afi boflute brano or the rubber efra wo ntwumedie no emu asane beto odwa na akwa ye hu e de ma ye dwuani die ene niema ahodo bia ekoye nwidie emu UTV ye ne adwadifo a wo mo na echi plantain chips and afi boflute edi nkomo e wala pass e won kran ha sei na wo mo echi mu se sansem ne nyina enye nokre ade na wo mo ye no efa ben ebere ben e no betimi de sa rubber no aboa anu aduane na wo de ache empo amano ayeye wo che mu de kokko wie se brano wo mo kra na beje enwane no si wonti so eton e wo traffic mu no wo mu nyina nisa se de wo mo ye aduane nti sa amfo so na nkofo keka e de gu adwuma no ho fi no enye no kre
Rubber na mo ka say ya de chi plantain no anya no kore me plantain me nchi ni tokoro mu me chi no temu me fiefo nyina ehu enti omowe enti sabi wana mo ka say ya de rubber na chi plantain anya no kore mo ya sa mo di gu ye business sabi obroni mfiri ni kuro mu ma emembe bia factory ni wa ha na yen Ghana fo ya kasa ya sua sa adwuma we ya ye betimi di aboa ye busuafo e di bia hye ye ma no mu nsa ye de no enkoto abrofo de ma we se no na ye papa e bibifo mo ma ye ni so ade a ye wo mi wo customer bebre omo wa outside omo to obu on mo hye so oto ade a obeba betena ho ahye mo wache awrapo amano odi tukwa na ode ko enti sa
Nango must see the paper. You use paper. And you did ton idea. Say, rubber ne buy it, job paper no use. And you used to rubber. And you tell your manager, and send your dear goom, your person by your shit, and send your dear goom, and send your dear goom. Dear time, make what time I made a quarter and when let me are made GB. Maybe mammy cram it to you, to be the man, mammy. And the dear and Tina Meno, Medima or bis may make what idea and yan, made a come with this on Nino Yale. Omun chibi. Eti di omu nimuno ma omu kan fan say yadwuma no aba bia ni wa ya de chibo fruit na ya de chi plantain ne baile omu bua asem na omu ka no omu bua mo de mu kofi ya mo ankasa mo nya na mo hwa de say rubber ubesi na atwa rubber de ato angwam na ne no watwa plantain na so de bo fruit we atum edwa na no omu pese omu ngu no so obi ye bia de me waka che nipa ne say onjai because enya say rubber wo de to adem na won chenfa nkoto ma wunu ase wunu andi ada nipa no pese hunku na na ase de yare anso beblaba it even so obi ye bia nipa kron mesran so onjai
na rubber ne kwa de to angwani mu a ebe moa mo enane aboa kra se ori rubber obewu ena ye nipa ye plantain ye wi bi de si de ne de rubber ye de ache omo won susu ye e bia mo pese omo je adwuma ne ma ankrofofo from omo ye na timemfo na wa de bread ya na nti sa obi ani ho betime de rubber ache plantain na sebo fruit
Sandema adihye na wate ho gumbonten so ye kire edi eti aban ne mpinfo kan bi omo kire mse wabra ne ye ko 2024 abatom no aban bo ma no ho ba senya kopon ya adom na tumi ne bedi NDC fo nsem mo wona kwan hodo ne ye behwe na ya ye ede amoma aban ba ya fe atwam akwan no mu hohwe wo so ento mu gina so na o masere mpinfo kan bi omo so behwe na wona kwan no onyin sisi emfama omo.
Our petition concerns the prolonged and deplorable conditions of the Chuchuluga, Sandema, Wiaga, Bedema, Fumbisi, and Wesi Road. This road is not merely a physical structure. It is a critical economic and social lifeline for our communities. It affects transportation, healthcare access, trade, education, safety, and overall development. It is our understanding that this road project was awarded in 2016. However, nearly a decade later, the road still remains largely incomplete, creating persistent hardship for residents and businesses. Our action today is peaceful, lawful, and non-partisan. We are here not as a political movement. We are here as citizens advocating for development. We believe that infrastructure development must be equitable and that communities should not endure prolonged delays on projects critical to their livelihoods. Through this petition, we respectfully seek 1. Clarification on the status of the road project. 2. A review of the factors responsible for the delay. 3. Decisive measures towards completion. Then 4. Strengthen accountability and oversight mechanisms. Your Excellency, in view of the urgency and prolonged nature of this matter, we respectfully request that this petition receive your kind consideration with a reasonable time frame. We remain committed to peaceful engagement, lawful advocacy, and national development.
Ewiemu nsakraya brano mpenifo amenya no NTSA betumi asai ne manti dada ya na moya yetuo no yema yeni enna ho wagina so amasese wode foto bi e wo ho ayefe ne se Global Climate Fund na eno wose kwan obefa so a wode sike wo foto no bedi dwuma ne enya eso mfa so a ye hwehwe ntino watrase aka wonti apam ho aye hyehyeye na sa hyehyeye no wode nteteye akode ama wo mo a wode se atwuma no ebehye wo mo ensan wokọ ene fotosamfo aso ya Chief Economic Officer ya wono ewo ho Owura Benjamin Tosa Klu ejina abana na mu akasa se abano ye to ho acha adwuma biada se ye wiemu nsakraye no obetu emu anamo afa bio obepe kwan a obenya foto no foforo ase abeka de wo no.
We must state that government has taken deliberate initiative and steps to strengthen policy and institutional framework to address these challenges. First of all is the revised national water policy, which provides a clear framework for a sustainable water resource management, integrating climate vulnerability concentration, promoting conservation measures, and including rainwater harvesting and watershed protection. Government is also committed to operationalizing and capitalizing project preparation fund under the public-private partnership framework to enable Ghana to attract greater private participation along commercial capital and leverage blended finance opportunities.
So this project is really about building capacity of the key stakeholders involved in the chain of climate finance access, mainly the National Designated Authority, the direct access entities, and all the players such as the Ministry of Finance, civil societies, which play a key role in accessing and managing finances from bilateral or multilateral institutions such as the Green Climate Fund. We have noticed that the countries have limited capacity in accessing funding, in managing funding, managing resources, and including a variety of stakeholders. So it's really about raising awareness of the need to include as many stakeholders as possible, but also building capacities in terms of developing bankable projects and submitting them through a project preparation process.
Climate impact na real. And from that, we need to act as a country or see either we want to adapt and I say mitigate. And I bet me I just and as a country, Ghana, you will privilege source finance from different sources, including multilateral sources. A Green Climate Fund, a FIBA. Into Green Climate Fund, and so on she share any number baby or why I will see a meeting. Sikane de anka ebi wo ho a ye bet me aka se ye be allocate my but in pimpin ni nhwehwemu ama ehu say project na ya propose ko ho no aya na indimu papa into technically any idea into na African Union Commission adwuma through Global Water Partnerships to say yenya assessment na ensure how ready we are to accept Green Climate Fund. In terms of insurance home buying there, even access to water cry a problem. Yeshe galamsey so akakra aka no so saying no cry into kwan ben so na ebetimi put hold on galamsey on water bodies intimi destroy water bodies e hono ehia pa na ebetimi eja insuo na ka recharge naturally fine na yenya insuo ni back.
Wana wo yinnuane ene anonom de wonkabo mukuo ene Food and Beverages Association of Ghana na ekoyimpenifo enebo aban na Ghana Revenue Authority abaso senhye bi odiegu apono so chirimu se nnuane ene anonom de bi wo hono mo a wontimi mfa flawo mbpm o ma Ghana mu no mo se eyenhyehyeye pa na se aban bebo no homoden na enkoka flawo nkwa na emom Ghana yahye so wo afana nyina na nka beboa amachese nnwuma egu wo man mu enema bi enam sibwa kwanso na de bepiem wo man mu enampu enema dodo na ye defa ahye so bepiem wo man Ghana mu esanse enam kwapaso nti yentimi anye eto wo ho no ebetimi aboa amanye nyina no yetimi esi ano kwan ne kwempenifu chimse nsusu ye omode to abanya ne muyi saban be som na wode adwuma nka beboa ama enwuma ye Ghana for de wo ma Ghana mu ne tima bo ho ban ama ya magana mabunu so adwuma ebeboa ama dwadie ho nsem afa ne to apodie fra brekro na so beboa ama nema hodo ye de fa sibo kwan so be pim wo ma Ghana mu no yetimi ahwe na yetimi asia no kwan sika ene ye to esefata wo ma Ghana so no mpenifo behwe na omunsa atumi akan sanse sabre no ye mfa nema mfa sibo kwan so be pim wo ma Ghana mu biem omo so hihye aban de gu apono so na wotwetwe mo wieye engo ene anwa ye yes ye ma ho kwan me mfa mfa fla wo be pim wo ma Ghana mu biem no omo se bebo mo dwumadi afa ne to apodie fra papa na emu mo de serede ne se e ma ne nka fla wo nko a ne mu menko Ghana fa na nyina na entimemua na dwadie ho nsem wo ma Ghana mu no entumi emfa ne to mapa emfamfra we ye krata Food and Beverages Association of Ghana wode apie emontin so awie ye begina we so na ya asremo na ya homeka sebo no so ye ba ne aka chire bia no ye de besom